When it comes to investing, do you ever get that feeling that it's a gamble? Sort of like you don't know whether the markets are going to be performing well, means your money could be growing, or the markets could just tank and suddenly you're losing a whole chunk of money. Have you ever had the instance where you've done an investment and it just didn't perform the way that you expected? Or maybe you know of people who lost a lot of money and now you're just feeling uncertain as to whether this is a good move for you or not. Well, in this video, I'm going to be guiding you on how you can gain control of the markets. So how can you cross that bridge to get yourself to a point where your money is actually working for you? And I'm going to be introducing you to a very, very secret tip that I've been using, and I wish I knew when I had started my retirement annuity, and what you can use to actually grow your wealth. So I'm Devon Naika, and I help retirees live their best life possible with the money they have. I help them to reach a stage of financial confidence, which is a place where you never have to worry about money. You can enjoy life without this fear of running out of money. Now, if you're watching this series, I'm guessing you want to get to that stage. So you're still building that wealth. And one of the key vehicles here, key ways to grow your wealth, is where you choose to invest your money. Now, I want you to pay attention. There's a lot of control that you have even before you invest your money. And that's the biggest mistake that happens to most people, is there's no goal. So let's head over to the iPad. I'm going to explain to you what it is that I'm speaking about. The biggest mistake is usually when it comes to investing, if your financial advisor is talking to you about some kind of fund that you can invest your money in and what kind of performance you're going to be getting over a 10-year period or 15-year period, all of that is not important. And that's how you know that this is something that's going to be a mistake. See? Because you don't want to give the power away to the insurance company. The focus has to be exclusively on you. See? So this is something that you don't want to pay attention to. How do we do this? You want to start to pay attention to what your goals are. So what are you looking for from the investment itself? Now, very basic, you're looking for some kind of return. You want to grow your money. But there are different ways in which you can grow your money. Let's look at 3 different ways. One, you could say you want to get a return that's beating a bank. So you want something that's better than what a bank is performing. Or you could say to yourself, you want to have a percentage return. So, for example, 10% or 5%, but you want to get a return of that percent. Or you could have a return of inflation plus. Now, what is inflation? Very basically put, it is something that affects the buying power of things. So let's take something, a basic example, the price of bread. If the price of bread is 20 rands now, it was 10 rands a few years ago. Now, what made the price of bread go up is this thing that we call inflation. Now, you want your money to grow at a rate better than inflation because you still want to be able to afford the same lifestyle that you have currently when you get to retirement. And if your money doesn't grow better than inflation, then it means it's not like everything else is growing at a higher rate than what your money is growing. You're not going to be able to afford it. So this is something that I want to recommend for you to consider, is having an understanding as to what sort of return do you need. Now, here's the secret. This can all be done in advance. So you're doing all of this before you actually signing any of your paperwork. And then when you start to compare the funds, whatever the insurance companies are providing, it doesn't matter the fund. It could be Allen Gray, Coronation, Investec, or Mutual, Sanlam, Discovery. So whatever the fund is, you now want to see whether it matches what your goal is. So let's use an example. Let's say your goal, your target is inflation plus 4%. Now I'm going to use an example to say that let's assume inflation is 6%, plus 4%, meaning you have a 10% return. Now, what happens if you happen to get a fund, and you can see this in advance, remember, and you see that the fund is targeting a return of inflation plus 2%. Would you invest your money there? No. But notice what happened. You didn't put your money in, meaning there's no gamble. You see? Compared to the traditional way where you would invest your money into this kind of fund, and you only get to see a long time from now that this money is not performing well, at which case you've lost a lot of time. And this can help you avoid it by understanding what your goal is. Let's use something else. Let's say you're seeing this thing called a fund fact sheet that your financial advisor is guiding you on, which you can ask for as well. And you notice that over the last 10 years, that particular fund gave a return of 8%. That's what the average return has been. Now, bearing in mind your goal is inflation plus 4, which is 10%. If you can see that that fund is only performing at 8% and you wanting 10%, is that a good place to invest your money? No. So again, you're able to see that you are in control. You're getting to see this in advance, upfront. Now let's use an example that you happen to find a fund, and the fund itself wants to deliver a return of inflation plus 4%. Now I want you to see that it matches up with your goal. It's sort of like you speaking the same language, right? So what you want and what the fund wants or aims to deliver is the same. And this is how you can have a better investment experience. And again, this is all done in advance. So there are hundreds of funds for you to choose from. Once you understand what sort of return you're aiming for, you can then start to filter this down. See? And it's again how you can avoid investing being a gamble. Now, it's got nothing to do with the brand of company. It's got nothing to do with Old Mutual, Sanlam, Discovery, Allen Gray. It got nothing to do with them. In fact, I'll use an easy example for you to compare it. If I had to ask you a question about motor vehicles, now I'm not the best with motor vehicles, but which one's faster, BMW or Mercedes? Now it's hard to say because we don't know what the engine is, right? What if it's a Mercedes that's extremely basic and you've got a BMW M5? Now, I don't know much about cars, but I know the M5 is a lot more powerful. So you can expect a better performance from the M5, see, compared to the Mercedes, because that engine in the Mercedes is not so good. So when it comes to investing, the secret here is you want to look at what the engine is, see, what the insurance company is providing you, that engine itself, and does that engine match up with what your goal is? So once you identify what your goal is, what you are aiming for, then you can start to compare it to see, is that a match? If it is a match, then you can go ahead with the investing. But if it's not a match, it's sort of like pressing hard on the accelerator, but the car can only go to 100. And you trying to go to 120, 150, it's just not going to happen. You see, you got to make sure that the engine aligns. See, it matches up with what your goals are. And the good thing is, if you already have an investment and you're seeing that it's not performing well, this engine here can be changed. See, and usually insurance companies offer you 1 or 2 free changes in a year. So if you find yourself in that case where your money is not performing well, go back in to change the engine. But this time around, have a look at what options are available before you invest your money. Now, I wish I knew this information when I first started my RA. I would have had a lot more growth in that retirement annuity. But it's not too late because I made a change on my RA. And likewise for you. If you're learning this for the first time, use this information to make sure you're getting the right match. Or if you already have invested money, then just go back in to make the adjustment. Again, usually this is provided free amongst most insurance companies. So I hope you found this video insightful. In fact, I do want to hear from you. Has this information been beneficial? So let me know, when you were doing your investment, were you given this information upfront, or were this funds sort of chosen for you? And when it comes to returns, are you happy with how the returns are? Or now that you know this, do you feel more in control? So post your comment below and share with me. Now, this is part of a series for the retirement annuity and how to get the best growth. So if you've not watched the previous videos, I encourage you to do that. And also pay attention to the videos to come because it's designed to help you get the most incredible return from your retirement annuity. Great. So if you've not already done so, I want you to subscribe to the channel so that you're able to get this content as soon as we produce it. And I'll see you on the next video.